Welcome everyone, back to 3D modeling a Hobbit Door scene with Blender 2.9 and Adobe Photoshop. And here we find ourselves actually in Photoshop. So we brought now our actual door render or screenshot into here. So what I want to do is I want to make the opacity a little bit less just so I can actually work on this. So I'm going to come over to the opacity, just make sure you've clicked on the right layer and just drop it down just a tiny bit. Something like 96% should be absolutely fine. Next, what you want to do is make sure you've got your brush on and that you've got smoothing on around 90%, basically the same setup as what we had before. Now, let's start. So basically, if we quickly just make a kind of reference of where we want to do. So you can see there as well that my brush is actually on opacity layer as well. So I'm going to make a new layer just to actually create this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and just make a rough kind of placement of where I want these to actually be. So if you can see, I'm going to be going around here and probably going to be ending somewhere around, let's say here, like so. And then I'm going to come with this one. And where do I want this one to come? So I want it to come down, round, follow that, and then round here, something like that. All right, so now I've got my rough placement out. I recommend if you are not happy with it, just actually delete it. So we can press E or come over to our actual eraser pen over here. And if you're not happy, just go in and just rub it out. Press B then to go back to your brush and just redo it to the way that you like it. Now let's do the hinges first. So where do I want my hinges? So I want my hinge basically on this bottom part to come probably somewhere around here. And then on the top part, probably somewhere around here. You can notice that this is probably a little bit too close to the actual wall. So I'm going to press E and just take that out. B, and let's bring in the hinge like so. And I think that should be absolutely fine. And it's going to give me enough room from the top and the bottom to actually work with. Now let's make some straight parts for our actual hinges. So I'm going to come in, put my mark down, press the shift button, hold it, and then drag across. And that will enable us then to make a straight line. And that's exactly what we want for this hinge part. I'm going to do the same on here. So I'm going to press it on, shift, pull across. Now let's do the same on the bottom part. So press it, shift, pull across. And I think that will be absolutely fine. Now let's try this one because I'm slightly concerned that I'm not actually going to get this in there enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically bring it round and make that kind of swirl effect. And then I'm going to come round, and as I come round, I'm going to make it bigger, going back to the hinge. And again, don't worry if it's not quite the right size you're looking for. So something like that. And then what I'll do is I'll bring this part out and make this a swirl as well. And then bring it round and get bigger as I come. And then I'm just going to make a little circle there. Not sure whether I'm going to keep this, not sure whether I'm happy with this, but it's a good start. So on this bit now, I want to bring probably a swirl out here, a swirl out here, something like that. I'm just going to try and experiment with something. And I definitely want this to be a swirl here. And then I'm going to bring this back now to my actual hinge, like so. Now let's focus on this bit now. So I'm going to come out from here, like so. I'm going to come round all the way around to here now, like so. All right, so now let's do these bits. And again, it's you can go over this as many times as you want. Just try and get something that you're actually happy with. And then what I recommend you do, once you've laid something down, is come over to the left-hand side and you'll have one that looks like a bucket. Click that on. And that is basically our paint bucket. And now what you can do is you can go over, as long as you've got no gaps in between these lines, click it on and you'll see it fills it in for you. So I'm just going to come in and fill all these in like so. And fill this one in. And these two in as well. Like so. And then I've got a much better idea now of how it's actually going to look. Okay, so now I've got something to work with. So now what I'm going to do is back to my brush. And we're going to bring it in and just make a couple more swirls, so something like this. Like so. And I'm not so sure if I'm happy with this swirl here. or this one here, they look a bit too, they haven't got enough of a swirl on, so let me see if I can go in and actually fix those first. It's slightly hard because we have got actual smoothing on. So I think I'm happy with this one though. This one I'm definitely happy with. I just need to make it a little bit thinner here, I think. But this one here, certainly, I just need to do a little bit with. Also on this one, you'll notice that it is a little bit thick in comparison to this one. I think the thickness of this one, I'm actually very happy with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press E, bring in my eraser, and I'm just going to erase those out like so. And then what else I'm going to do is I'm going to just make this a little bit thinner now, trying to make it as thin as this one here. So it's because we're actually trying to get one going into here, whereas here we've got two. So let's come in now and just make it that little bit thinner, like so, and just work on it, going up, and let's come down as well, like so, and then let's make this a little bit smoother. So it needs to be thinner here, going up. And then I think maybe I've gone a little bit too much here. But as I say, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to try and get it to where I like it. And then on this bit here, I'm actually going to cut it away with my razor. And now I'm looking for is this this bit too lumpy here? So I think it is. So I'm just going to round it off very slightly like so. And I think this part I'm actually happy with. Now let's come to this part here and look what's going on. So I'm just going to smooth it off a little bit like so. And you can see that it just needs, I think I actually need to come in and just make this bit again going round like so. Now you can see it's a bit better than where it was. And then what I'll have is, I'll try one coming out here instead like so. Like so, and let's fill that in. And now I think, yeah, I think that's looking much better. I'm happy with these two as well. I think maybe make them a little bit thicker on this one and this one, ready for erasing them out. All right, so now let's come in with the eraser again, and let's erase out this top one. Again, with the eraser as well, you can actually use the shift button. So if you click, shift, pull across, you'll see that it makes a nice straight line. I think I'll do that there as well, nice straight line. And then let's do this top, like so. Let's erase that off, and let's put in a hole here as well, like so. And now let's work on this bit going round, like so. And you can see that probably have to come in and make this line a bit thicker. So I'm just gonna fight around with it, just making it as I want it, and then I'll raise it out. And sometimes it's kind of a bit tedious trying to get it the way you want it, but it's worth taking your time, like so. And that's looking a much, much better line, as you can see. All right, like so. And then eraser. And yeah, that's looking much, much better. Again, I'm going to put a gap in here, like so. And I'm going to put a gap down here, and maybe a gap here as well, and that's giving it a lot more variance. And I'll also do the same here, so we'll have let's try a gap there and a gap here, and yeah, that's looking much better. All right, so now let's finish with these parts. So we'll bring it round like so, and then let's bring this part around, and this part's it's very small. So I'm going to make my brush a bit smaller, like so, and I'm going to bring it in there. And then what I'm going to do is try and bring that in. Okay, so I'm looking at this now and thinking, am I happy with that? And I think I'm actually very happy with that. The one thing I'm kind of not happy with is just this bit here. I'm just wondering if I need to make my brush a little bit bigger and just cut that away. And see if it looks any better. Like I said, it's a bit about experimenting as well, and I actually think that if I go back, I actually think it looks better like that. Just this one I need to puff out a little bit, so I'm just going to press B to bring back my brush like so. Alright, so once you're happy with it, again we're going to do exactly the same thing as what we did for our stained glass window. So let's come in and make sure that we've got our, if you right click, quick selection tool on. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come in, drag all the way down, You can see that it's not grabbed it all, so I'm going to come in, grab it all the way down here. Come on. There we go. Now it's grabbed it all. Just make sure it's all grabbed like so. Right click, and you're going to go down to Make Work Path, like so. Click OK, and there we go. Now come up to Layer, come down, New Fill Layer, and we're going to make Solid Color. Let it load up, press OK, and there we go. Now let's make sure it's on black. Click OK. And now what we'll do is we'll take off both of these because now the SVG is ready to be sent out. Come to File, Export, Export As. And again, this SVG will be available for you to download in case you haven't got yours or you like mine better. So what we'll do is make sure this is on SVG. Go to Export. And here is where our stained glass hummingbird is. And I'm just going to change this to hinge. Hinges, let's call it that. There we go. Okay, so there we go. Now what we'll do is we'll head on over to Blender in the next lesson. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye-bye.